future legends, welcome back to my channel and today's episode of Loreen Leads Legends. And today I want to talk to you about the topic how to tell my boss that I'm pregnant. The reason why I came up with this video is I'm pregnant myself. I'm now 37th week, so due date is coming. Then I remember there came the point when I had to talk to my boss about it. So I just felt quite emotional, and because, you know, as a woman you have to deal with so many consequences. This is another topic, I know, but I'm sure many women of you can relate to this if you really love your job and you appreciate what you're doing on a daily basis. So, well, I was quite emotional, but I wanted to have a professional talk to my boss. So I sat down and prepared how I'm gonna meet with him and what am I gonna tell him. And the more I came up with ideas and a vision, the more professional I felt. I just want to share my experience with you and tell you my method, what I did, how I told my boss. If you can relate to this and you're interested in knowing how I did it, then keep on watching. Well, to really get emotions out of a subject, you have to leave them behind. And I just asked myself, well, what kind of information is my boss interested in? What does he have to know? And yeah, I just came up with, he wants to know when I leave, for how long will I leave, when will I come back, and how will I come back, like full-time or part-time. And last but not least, of course, am I surrounded by certain risks? Do we have to do a final risk evaluation during the time that I'm still working? So let's start by answering those questions. My solution is to come up with a timing plan, and so this is my recommendation to you. Just make yourself a plan. The timeline may start with the due date of your baby, of course. The next thing is to think about maternity protection leave. I live in Germany, and there we have a rule like 6 weeks before birth you may go home, you may stay home, and 8 weeks after birth you may also stay at home to care for yourself and the baby. And this period of 14 weeks is called maternity leave. So now we have the starting point of the leave. After the maternity leave, everyone has the option to stay at home for parental leave. And then you have to decide, okay, for how long will I stay at home? 3 months, a half a year, 3 years, things like that. And I just recommend to sit down with your husband and talk about the situation that will be there. Who will help you? Do you have nanny? Is your baby able to go to the kindergarten? Things like that. And of course, how will you get paid to really stay at home? You have to consider this whole situation. And then you can just mention the ending part of your timeline, which is quite interesting for your boss. When does your leave start and when does it finish? So when will you be back at work? Another thing about timing is, of course, make an appointment. Give yourself and your boss the possibility to have his or her full attention and his time to really talk about your new situation. You also have to think about when to tell during your pregnancy. Well, many doctors say, well, during the first trimester, the first 3 months, anything can happen, also bad things. So that was something for me that I decided to wait after 13 weeks to tell my boss, because then I could have been quite secure that everything goes well and everything is healthy. The other thing is I wasn't surrounded by some kind of risk, like maybe chemicals or machines that vibrate on a regular level, or like a little children with all the bacteria and things like that. So I just knew it was great surroundings, so I didn't have to consider some kind of risks. So I was really able to wait the first trimester to talk to my boss about it. Yeah, if you have a risk in mind that you are surrounded by, then of course consider this and talk to your doctor, and then maybe you should talk to your boss earlier. And the next thing that is important to your boss is what happens in between when you are at home. Who does your work? It's a tough meeting if you talk about pregnancy and maternity or parental leave, because I think every boss really is happy for you, but this topic really puts up a new problem for him because you are quite important to the company. And who will do your function now? Who will serve the company now? And this is my recommendation. Think about your representation during the period that you're at home. Who will do your work? Like, really name somebody who's able to, who can fulfill your terms of work. The result was that I just put down a job split and told what are my jobs that I have to do and who's able to do it, and I named those persons. Like, just an example, if you have several things to do, person A is well for the client's behavior and the client's care, person B is good to do like administration stuff, and person C is very qualified to do like accounting. Also, if you're at home, it's not like you have left everything behind. I think it goes still on in your head. What's up at work? Is everybody fine? What about my projects? What about costs and stuff like that? It's your own luck to know that everything really goes fine, also if you are at home. And when you are back, you are able to find a good situation. And by this, don't forget to think about the incorporation of your representative. Meaning, if you talk to your boss about your pregnancy at the end of the first trimester, you're still having 6 months at work, and those 6 months can be very great for you and your new representative to really incorporate and talk about anything. That gives you and of course your boss such a huge kind of security, and you can just be relaxed when you go to maternity leave and say, well, anything done, anything talked about, my representative will do fine. How will you come back? Will you be able to come back full-time, part-time? Of course, the future might bring some changes, but now you have to be honest with the information that you have and just talk about it with your boss. Then consider, okay, when full-time, part-time is defined, do you have something else in mind? Do you think, well, maybe I would appreciate a day of homework during the week? Then just tell your boss. Or if you have several locations from your company, maybe another location suits your lifestyle then better because kindergarten is nearby or things like that, you know, and come up with an idea. Of course, your boss is not forced to realize all of these things, but they can give him some kind of security and a more concrete vision of the situation that will be there. And then you can have a meeting like in half a year, things like that, to talk about the circumstances then, and you both may rethink about everything. Well, and last but not least, we have talking about the final risk evaluation. You should ask your boss who is the health and safety officer at your company and who can just go around everything like the office or the area that you work in to analyze any kind of risk that you are surrounded by. And then you should write your minutes and talk about it with this safety officer and of course with your doctor to really mention those risks and decide whether during your pregnancy and your still working time, whether it's good to stay in this location or to maybe do another function at another area, that you're no longer surrounded by those risks. This is very much it that is interesting for your boss to know and that can really make you look very professional about this whole topic, because consider this, you are still very important to the company, and if you just say, well, I have to leave because of baby care, this first is like a problem to the company, but if you just come up with those ideas, you also come up with a good solution. Put everything together in a formal presentation and just hand it out to your boss. So he has something in his hands, he has like an outcome, an output of your talk, and he will really appreciate it. And with those information, I think you are very well and done. This was my kind of method, how I prepared and how I talked to my boss, and I'm happy to share this kind of experience, and I hope it will suit you and will help you. Please feel free to share it with other people. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already and just give me your thumbs up. That would really make my day. So, and all the pregnant ladies out there, I wish you a very beautiful and healthy pregnancy. So I will see you in the next video.